The newest Fallout game from Bethesda, Fallout 76, has been out for a few weeks now, and I've been playing it every day since launch. The game has been getting a ton of negative feedback, but is it deserved, and is Fallout 76 the kind of game you would enjoy? There is a lot out there already on Fallout 76. I'm not going to go into intimate details about every one of the systems. The game is based on the same engine they've been using for all of the Fallout games, most recently Fallout 4. It's almost identical in a lot of ways, as this game was made alongside that one. A lot of the animation, set pieces, items that you're collecting, enemies are the same from Fallout 4, though there is new things to see here in the Appalachian Wasteland. I honestly did not have any expectation for Fallout 76, seeing Fallout 4 and not really loving it as much as previous Fallout titles, and then the multiplayer aspect wasn't something that necessarily was going to grab me. But then I started to play the game and enjoy it. Well, bits of it at least. The game is an always online world. You start off like a lot of Fallout games in a vault, you create your vault dweller, and then you're set off into the world of the Appalachian Wasteland, taking place in West Virginia. One of the biggest aspects about Fallout 76 that I was looking forward to was this part. I love West Virginia, I think it's a beautiful state, and I was looking forward to exploring it here in the Fallout universe, and they do a pretty good job with all the various landmarks, areas that you get to go to, and of course folklore that's included from West Virginia history, which I absolutely loved. The game itself pretty much plays like Fallout 4 if it was a co-op online always experience. There's a few new mechanics that are included here. The camp system is the big one. Here you're basically able to go anywhere on the map and set up your base camp. Well, most places. You can't set up a camp in an already existing establishment, and sometimes this is a bit iffy on where you can build, how you can build, and what's buildable on. But for the most part, it's a cool idea. It does have problems though. Actually building stuff can be a bit tricky, but once you kind of get the hang of things, just like Fallout 4, it can be really cool. Until you move servers and all of a sudden somebody had something that was relatively near where your camp was, and they completely erase your camp and pack it all back up, and you have to kind of reset it back up. You wouldn't think with such a big world that this would happen often, but it happens a lot, and I'm not the only one. I've checked multiple places online, and a lot of other people that are playing the game are running into the same problem. It's basically made to the point that I don't want to build anything. I just build the basic supplies that I need in order to craft and such, and then move on and just continue playing the game, and maybe once this issue is fixed, I'll actually spend the time to build something really cool. With the game having a more focus on the survivor aspects, something that we've seen a million times in other games, especially tons of early access games on Steam, you had to manage things like food and water and do a lot of crafting, breaking down everything into base components and then using it to craft new items, repair items, or modify items, just like with Fallout 4. So in order to repair any of the armor or weapons that you have, you'll need to go around and gather all these random things in order to use them, like duct tape and turn it into adhesive or random screws. After a while, I was able to get enough of a supply, but limits to things like the stash box and just your general weight carry limits can make it troublesome to actually have a good amount of stuff available so that I always have everything I need to repair all the equipment I currently have, and it's just getting worse as I get farther into the game with heavier, more powerful, and bigger equipment and needing better supplies in order to repair them. They are increasing it slowly, but that increase for the stash cannot come soon enough. One thing that I also hate is that you can't decorate the area of your camp. You can't just put items where you want to, decorate your campsite with tons of lawn gnomes or something like that. Instead, everything you drop gets put into a little paper bag. Hopefully, in the future, that'll allow us to decorate a bit more, but since there seems to be an emphasis on the microtransaction items that you're able to use to decorate stuff, I don't think we're going to be able to do so. Thankfully, the microtransaction aspect of the game is minimal. There's these things called Atom Points that you earn for completing the random challenges in the game, and then you can use these Atom Points to buy a few costume items, but mostly things like emotes, icons, and other decorations, which are really unnecessary and not really that great yet. I'm sure they're going to add a lot of stuff to this and try to entice you, but thankfully, it's not something that's screaming at you at all times like some games. Leveling up in the game is handled a little bit differently. You have the special system again with things like strength, perception, endurance, and charisma. Charisma being focused on team-based stuff now instead of course, NPC interaction. You can put up to 15 points in each category. Every time you level up, you get 1 new point to add, as well as you're able to select a perk card. You also get packs of perk cards every 5 levels. The perk cards can also be leveled up, some up to 3 or 4 times, increasing, of course, what they can do. If your favorite aspect of the Fallout games, especially the Bethesda Fallout games, is just exploring the vast wasteland, looking at every single nook and cranny and looking for things, this game has a very vast world that you're going to be able to do that in. It just isn't a populated one with a ton of great things to do. Since there are no human NPCs, the only NPCs that you have in the game are either already dead or are robots, there really isn't a lot to bring you into the story as much, so you have to do a lot of reading, and there's a ton of stuff to read lore-wise and all, but honestly, it feels like the best stuff about Appalachia has already happened. Since the game isn't taking place right after the bombs dropped and people first started exploring Appalachia, it feels like a lot of the great things have already been done. There's already been wars and factions and all this cool stuff. The Brotherhood of Steel has been there. You get to go through the journey and find out what happened to them and all, but not actually getting to do that feels like a misstep. The main quest is all about finding out what happened instead of kind of really solidifying your own journey and your own foothold. Of course, that's all up to you and your journey with your friends or whoever to kind of make that journey for you, but because it is a Fallout game that's always been so story-driven, it just felt like they didn't really care about it. There are plenty of side quests, events, and daily events, and I'm sure they're going to add even more events as time goes, but every one of the quests, I didn't really find that many that I thought, wow, that was actually a decent quest. I think every single one of them, pretty much I felt meh by the time I got done them. With the big draw about Fallout 76 being multiplayer, the PvP is kind of lackluster as well for those who are into that. I'm not. I'm glad you can set things to passive and just kind of do things on your own. As long as you don't destroy other people's camp, which will get you a 1-it level, you really aren't going to be bothered by too many of the other people playing the game if you don't want to be bothered. The best part, though, about the multiplayer and co-op aspect is working towards getting the nuclear codes and launching a missile so that you can then go to ground zero where the nuke is and fight some really high-level endgame stuff. The thing is, though, once you've done that once or twice, it starts to lose its luster, and there isn't really a whole lot of late-game stuff yet to really dive into, so once I completed the main quest and did that, I was kind of just sitting back, waiting now for new stuff to be added to the game. After going through Fallout 76 for 50 hours now, and granted, a lot of that time is fighting through all of the game's problems, and this game has so many. It is just a broken mess at times, with it slowing down to 0 frames per second when doing simple interactions. Going into certain areas, load times can be atrocious. The campsites, of course, being very glitchy, items disappearing and reappearing in my inventory, quest breaking, unbreaking, and then breaking again. They have done one major patch. There's going to be plenty of patches, I'm sure, that will fix a lot of this stuff, but it's just so many problems, especially game-breaking ones where the game crashes, and I mean spectacularly crashes. I had it where the screen went black and started flashing a checkerboard pattern at me instead of actually just crashing and resetting the game. I always try to keep track of how many crashes a game has during the course of me playing it, and I ran into more than 40 crashes during my gameplay. Fallout 76 is available now on the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It launched at $59.99. It's already being discounted in a lot of places though, so you may be able to get it a lot cheaper already, and I highly recommend, if you're gonna check it out, that you wait for a sale, because the game really isn't worth full price right now, and honestly isn't even worth something like $40. Fallout 76 may end up being the new No Man's Sky. They could improve the game a lot, fix all the glitches, and it could be a decent game in a year or two's time. But just decent. I don't think there's any way to really take what's there now and make it great. The exploration is cool, but without the other context of the world and seeing so many cool things that have already happened in Appalachia just ended up leaving me disappointed that I didn't get to play those parts of it. With everything said, Fallout 76 had moments of enjoyment, led by moments of extreme frustration and almost controller throwing because of how broken the game was at times. But with everything said, I'm going to be giving Fallout 76 a 3 out of 10. That's going to wrap up this review though. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.